Have you ever noticed shadows in your room that don't belong? Not just the ones cast by furniture or streetlights, but shadows that move on their own, watching you when you don't expect it. That's what happened to me. And what I discovered next changed everything. It started on a cold autumn evening. I had just moved into my new apartment, a small, quiet place on the edge of town. It was perfect for me, or so I thought. I spent most of that day hauling boxes, unpacking, arranging furniture, and by the time the sun went down, I was exhausted. My new bedroom was cozy. I flicked off the overhead light as I slipped into bed. Just before my eyes drooped closed, I saw it out of the corner of my eye, a shadow shifting oddly on the wall. I sat up, blinking, half expecting to see the silhouette of my curtains blowing in a sudden draft. But there was nothing there. I checked the windows. They were shut tight. I told myself it was just my imagination. The next few nights, the shadow returned, always in the same corner of the room. Sometimes it seemed to stretch, other times it itched. I started feeling watched. Sleep became difficult. I lay awake, staring at the corner, trying to convince myself that it was just a trick of the light. Then one night, when I turned to face the shadow, it moved. Not like a flicker or flick of light. It shifted deliberately, as if it had awareness. My heart pounded. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. It was as if the shadow had materialized from the corner, stretching out toward me. I scrambled back, knocking over a lamp. I flicked on the bedside lamp and stared at the corner. Nothing. Of course, I told myself. You're just tired. But I wasn't tired. In fact, I was terrified. I tried to shake off the image of the moving shadow, but it haunted my waking moments. The walls of my room seemed to close in around me. The window was just a vacant stare. I began researching, looking online for anything about shadows behaving strangely. I found stories, some about shadow people, others about spirits trapped between worlds. I wanted to believe it was just superstition, but the fear kept growing. Every night I saw the shadow, it became bolder. It grew longer, darker. It slithered along the walls, its edges blurring in and out of focus. I felt like I was losing my mind. I wanted proof, so I set up a camera in my room, hoping to catch something, anything to show that I wasn't alone. The first few hours showed nothing unusual. I watched the clock on the camera screen tick by, counting the seconds until I could go back to sleep. But every time I drifted off, I'd startle awake, my heart racing, thinking I heard something. I saw something. By the second night, I was exhausted. My eyes drooped. As I tried to stay awake, I must have dozed off because I saw it later, a dark, hazy figure in the corner of the monitor. The timestamp read 3 a.m. I rewound it, checking if it was a glitch. It wasn't. A tall, slender figure, vaguely human-shaped, but without clear edges, stood by the bed. It lingered, seeming to watch the camera itself. It vanished just as quickly as it appeared, leaving only a faint, dark stain where it had been standing. I felt a chill crawl up my spine. I slept fitfully after that, jolted awake at the slightest noise. Then came the night I couldn't sleep at all. I tossed and turned, my mind frantic with worry. Suddenly I choked, sitting upright in bed. It felt like an invisible hand was squeezing my throat. Panic seized me. I gasped for air, clawing at my neck. I struggled to sit up, knocking over a water glass. The room was dark, but I saw them. They were everywhere, swirling around me like smoke. The shadows, they were coming for me. I struggled to breathe, my vision blurring. I crawled back, hitting the bed frame. Fear paralyzed me. I wanted to scream, to call for help, but no sound escaped my lips. From the corner, I saw a face form out of the darkness. Two hollow eyes stared at me, twisted grin, bared teeth. I squeezed my eyes shut, burying my head under the pillow. Please make it stop. I cried silently, wishing for dawn, for the reassuring light of day. But the shadows were relentless, slithering over me, through me, consuming me. I felt myself being pulled, dragged away into the darkness. When I opened my eyes, I was somewhere else. The room was the same, but it was different. I was standing in the same room, but everything was gray, lifeless. The shadows surrounded me, whispering things I couldn't understand. I turned, wanting to escape, but there was nowhere to go. The door was just a dark void. A voice, cold and cruel, spoke inside my mind. You invited us. You let us watch. Now you belong to the shadows. The words echoed, bouncing off the gray walls. I stumbled back, fear gripping me. Then I realized with a jolt. I had let them in. The countless times I'd seen the shadows, I'd dismissed them, convinced myself they weren't real. I hadn't taken them seriously. And now they were here, closing in, enveloping me. I had a choice. Stay trapped in this gray world, consumed by the shadows, or fight back. I didn't want to belong to the shadows. I didn't want to live in that gray world. I searched inside myself, looking for light, for hope, for anything to help me fight back. I knew I had to try. It wasn't easy. The shadows fought back, clawing at my mind, dragging me down. But slowly I pushed them away. I remembered all the good things in my life, the laughter, the love, the friendships. I thought of the warmth of the sun on my skin, the taste of my favorite food, the sound of a loved one's voice. These memories were like anchors keeping me grounded. I clung to them, letting them be my strength. As the first rays of sunlight touched my face, I woke up gasping for air. Back in my bed, the room was quiet. The shadows were gone. For now, at least, I knew they'd be back, but now I knew how to fight back. I wouldn't let them consume me. I wouldn't let them win. Every day is a battle. Every day I have to choose to be strong, to hold on to the light. Some days are harder than others. There are moments when the shadows seem to creep closer, when the whispers become louder. But I keep fighting. I keep clinging to hope. If you ever see a shadow that doesn't belong, don't ignore it. Don't tell yourself it's just a trick of the light, because sometimes those shadows are watching, waiting. If you let them in, they might never let you go. So if you ever find yourself in a room with dancing shadows, remember my story. Remember that even when the darkness seems inescapable, the light is always there, waiting for you to find it. And don't forget that you're stronger than you think, braver than you believe, and you have the power to push back the shadows. If you enjoyed this spooky tale, please hit that like button. If you haven't already, consider subscribing. Your support means the world to me. Thanks for watching.